Piper had a note out after the results saying, we got it wrong. We've had a neutral in the stock for a long time. But now we actually think that we could see EBIT margins between 8 and 10%. I'm sure in part thanks to this higher average transaction price of $51,000.
Yes, but there's so much to like here, except that I don't own the stock. But they don't need to give that kind of bullish guidance for next year that they did, right? It's very easy to just say, hey, we're in a, fluid situation with tariffs and whatnot, and so we're going to just, we'll guide as we get closer. But so why go out on a limb at all unless you have a lot of confidence?
Yeah, I think both car companies, Ford and GM, they're getting the tariff relief. Plus, they don't have the EV mandates. Ford lost $12 billion on EVs. GM didn't lose anywhere near that total. This could be a great year for Ford as a catch-up trade.
We have said, I heard what Phil said about most people, conflate or look at the same. We've talked about it for a long time on this, that GM is just running just better company right now and a better stock, and it's proving to be the case. I hear what Steve is saying. I don't necessarily agree, but I'll tell you this. I mean, when you start to look at some of the numbers, operating profit beat by 11%. That's a significant number in the environment that we find ourselves in. And the same way people look at valuation when things are going lower, it's the same way people are going to start to look at valuation when things are going better and say, wait a second, it's just too cheap here.
To your point about the EV mandate, and I think perhaps that is going to be somewhat fluid going forward, but we got to trade with the current environment that we have. On top of the EV mandate, you also have a rollback of the whole need for them to be purchasing emission credits, which I think, again, is directly impactful to bottom line. So I think the table is just somewhat set for them. Clearly, the street was wrong, myself included, in terms of what the expectations were. But I do think it's both operationally and also understanding what the legislative backdrop is and for them to be able to perform within that environment.